Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Mission Snapshot. We are grateful that you are here, and we have some exciting news to share with you. Before we get to that, Hannah is over there, and she's going to be dropping links down below. So if you have comments or questions, please do leave them there, and then keep an eye out for what Hannah is going to share with you. Well, today is Thursday, and normally that's the day when Veronica comes and shares evening school stories. But today it's a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but still related to evening schools.
Absolutely.
So tell us, what are you sharing with our viewers today?
Well, we've talked a little bit about how we're kind of putting together a Sabbath school program or a
Right.
children's program revolving around our evening schools. And so I
Right.
wanted to elaborate more about that program and what it's looking like and what to expect.
So it has now progressed far enough where we can not just mention it, but we
Yeah.
get to see it. So you're seeing a preview of this children's program
Yeah.
that is not only for Sabbath school classes, but can be for
Right.
any group. Homeschoolers could use this.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're putting it together in the format of a Sabbath school program,
Right.
but it's really just mission stories and activities revolving around the mission stories and learning more about our evening schools. And so it can be used for anybody if you have a Pathfinder group or an adventure group or homeschooling or just a Bible study group, and you want to focus on missions, anything like that. Absolutely.
It could even be used for evangelism in a neighborhood. If you know that you have a lot of children and you want them to have some fun things to do, this is a way that you can use it. So this is for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be molded and adapted no matter what the setting. So that's,
that's
kind of what
great.
we're going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay.
So the program is about our evening schools. So it does include a map of just where the evening schools are that we work with at the moment. And we currently have 19 schools going. So it just kind of gives an idea of where the stories come from. And basically the program will kind of be set up. It'll talk about... the theme is basically just to learn more about the areas, so the villages, what it's like there, and as well as what the evening school actually does for the community and their programs. And as you go through the program, we have ideas on how to set up. So if you are in a room, say you're using it in a schoolroom or a classroom, there will be ideas on how you could decorate the room if you really want to get into it.
Yeah.
We'll have lots of pictures of different things. So this first picture is actually how I decorated a room. We kind of did a mock trial, so to speak, of this program. And so we decorated that. And then there's also included pictures of real villages, huts in India and what they look like. So you can get a good idea of, what those people are actually experiencing and help your kids or your group see that and experience the same
So
things.
then the decorations don't have to be really fancy.
No, they don't. However, inside the evening schools and the churches, the people in India love decorations, and so there's actually some other samples that show the bright colors and banners and streamers that they love to put in there.
Right.
So I would definitely encourage that as well, kind of making your room just bright, just like they like. But if you're going to do some type of hut or an example of how they live, certainly that's not going to be that way.
Right.
So that will be included as well, and there's a full prop list, suggestions of how things you could get and how you could decorate.
So how many modules are included in this? Is it just a one-time thing, or?
No, it's set up with a 13-week program.
Okay.
And eventually, like I said, we do have 19 schools, so I would love to have in here at least one story from each school, so you can kind of pick and choose. If you do just need that 13-week schedule, you could pull whichever stories you want. Or if you're doing like a homeschooling thing and you need it to last all semester, I'd like to eventually have enough stories where you could kind of make that last. It wouldn't have to end at 13 weeks.
Okay. So you mentioned in the packet that is going to be provided, the prop list and the ideas for decorating the area, if that's something that they would choose to do. It's not mandatory.
No, absolutely not.
But it's something they could do. And
Yeah.
what else is included?
So we have that. And then there's also some trying to figure out ways of including the kids even more and getting them not just listening to a story, but getting them involved. So part of what we would like to see happen is that they actually learn some small things in the Tamil language, which is the main language in where we have the evening schools.
Okay.
And so there's we're going to include a video clip of a song and that's in Tamil that they sing at the evening schools and in church, and along with some other words and phrases that you can learn, like, hello and happy Sabbath and good morning or whatever. And Google Translate is wonderful for that. You can just type in those words and hear how it's supposed to say. And so I'd love to see things like that as well for the kids.
Right.
So we actually have a small clip of the song that will be included that Hannah recorded yesterday, and it's beautiful. So we'd love to play that.
Sure. Okay, so let's take a look at that video now. That song is a lot of fun. It talks about being forgiven and cleansed by Jesus and how happy that makes you.
Yeah.
And this song is quite long. They love to sing in India. So this very short little clip is just the chorus, but they have many verses that go with this particular song. But it's a fun tune.
Yeah.
And we think the children would love to learn that.
I think it's something that would be very fun for them to learn. And so, yeah, in the actual program, you'll have the chorus and maybe one verse. I mean, something simple and easy for them to learn, but just fun learning anything in another language. I think the kids would enjoy. So that's another little activity part that we have going.
Right. And if you are doing this in a Sabbath school setting, and your class needs to come up with something for 13th Sabbath program, it would be fun for the kids to be able to sing this song and share what they learned about the evening schools as part of the 13th Sabbath program. Yeah,
it makes it really easy for something like that. And I know some churches, they don't have a big program with all the kids, but every once in a while they want classes to say, hey, this is what we're learning. So at any point, that's something that you could easily put together as a presentation for your church.
Okay, so they have songs.
Yeah.
And what else do they have?
So they have songs, and then we've included some activities, so things like word searches, using words from related to the evening schools and the stories that they've heard, and just little things like that you could do during the program, or even just as take-home kind of things. And then we also have a, so we're going to do a passport for the kids.
Okay.
So it's a missions passport. So what this is that every week or every day, depending on how you're doing this program, for each story, they would receive a stamp in their passport for going to that village.
Right.
So because each story is will be from different villages. Right now, there's a few villages that have multiple stories in there because we don't have information from all of our schools right now. But every time they go and visit an evening school, they'll get a stamp in their passport. And so the passport is going to be about this size.
Okay.
So it's basically just a 8.5 by 11 sheet folded in half.
So that's easy to reproduce. The churches can easily download that and copy it, and there's no cutting or anything like
just stapling the pages together if you want. There's like a total of 13 or 14 pages. But that will be included in the program as well. And so they can print it off, copy it, do however it's best for them to make those passports. And then you can get stickers or actual stamps and just give stick one on the back page for every time that they go through a story. Right. And then at the end, if they visited all of the villages, we also have a list of incentives. So you could use this for the passport. You could also use it for if they actually memorize words correctly in Tamil or special memory verses or things like that. And there's little gifts or incentives that are unique to India that we've suggested that you could get fairly cheaply through
Right.
Amazon or different sources,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could use that as well as kind of little incentive to the kids, or
Right.
thank you for learning so much about the evening schools.
Now, you had shown me the inside of the passport as
Mm-hmm.
well. So the kids are not just going to get a stamp,
True,
but they're
yes.
going to have an activity with the passport.
Right. So there's also, they get their stamp, but there's also on the inside, for each week, there's a blank space. And they will write in what village they visited, and then they can either write a story or draw a picture just talking about or depicting what they learned
Right.
about that village. So it can be unique to the story they heard or the village or something about the mission project that caught their
Right.
attention.
Right. So this way they have a cue, a mental cue
Yes.
to remember, oh, I remember that
Yeah.
village we went to, because they'll look at the picture that they drew, or maybe some words that stood out to them or
Exactly.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that can change depending on the age group that you're teaching. Obviously, if they're younger, that could just be a picture, a simple drawing.
Right.
But as they get older, you could challenge them. Like I said, it's a full half sheet.
Yeah.
You could challenge them to actually write out, a couple paragraphs of what that meant to them, how it
Right.
affected them.
Right. And then this turns into a sharing opportunity.
Yes.
So they can remember and tell their family at home what they're learning as well.
Yeah, so that's another part to this, because we don't want this to be something that you just learn
Right.
and keep to yourself.
Right.
This is wonderful information, and so we also want to kind of challenge the kids to share it with others. So one thing that's included is recipes, traditional Indian recipes. So I've put together a few recipes that will go, and the idea is that the kids can then take them, you can print them off, and the kids can take that with them, and they can share with their parents, they can share with other family members or neighbors. Maybe the family has, an Indian night and invites neighbors over, and they can all share, and then they go, oh, where'd you learn this? Well, my Sabbath school, or my youth group or whatever. So it's just a way to continue sharing the stories.
I think that's really great. Now, I know we had talked at one point about finding at least a couple of games or something that the children play in India. Were you able to find any of those to put into the materials that you'll be sharing?
Into the materials. So I did some research. It's a little bit hard to figure out what is traditional Indian and what is just has been mass produced because, hey, this looks Indian. So it was a little bit difficult. I found a few things that would work for the gifts and incentives.
Okay.
And you could probably take those and teach them in the class and say, hey, this is how they play with this, or whatever. I haven't found any big games or anything that really stands out, but it's still a work in progress. I'm not done yet.
So if any of you are watching who know of Indian games that the children's play, please send us.
Absolutely.
Email us.
Email some ideas.
Yeah. Hannah will drop the email address below and let us know.
Yeah.
Because that would be fun too, to be able to play those games.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything like that, I would love to include, because I want this to be just a inclusive experience for the kids,
right?
Or whoever's going through this program, and help them truly understand the culture, and not just, oh, great, there's a missionary and they heard this story, but understanding that it's a whole culture. There's it's so different, and that's what we're trying to teach.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, the next question I have for you is, how will this be made available? I know we've briefly talked about that in other episodes of Mission Snapshot, but for our viewers today, how will they be able to get access to this?
So this will primarily be a digital copy, and what we would do is, if you're interested and you reach out via email or calling us, then we can email it to you or send it digitally. If there's a need for something to be printed, we probably could, but that's not something that we're looking to do for every copy. It's mainly going to be digital, especially with the songs and things that we want sent. Much easier to send that digitally than to make CDs or anything like that. So yeah, it's mainly just digital so that we can email it out.
Yeah, I think that's great. Anything else that you would like to share about the program that we haven't touched on?
I think that we covered everything. It's just exciting working on this and seeing it come together, and hopefully I can get it finished and out to everyone very soon.
So again, if you're interested in this program for whatever group of children you have, please go ahead and email us at the email address down below. And I also encourage you to please share this video with other people that you think may love to be able to have a program like this for children so that they too can have access to this. We want this to go as far and wide as possible. There's no cost for this.
No.
And so we want people to be able to have it and enjoy it. And if you're interested in helping with the evening schools, Hannah's going to drop a link below to our evening school page, because we also have an evening school adoption program. So if you want to briefly share about that.
Sure. So it's kind of like this, and actually that is one thing that I forgot to mention, but if you are working with this program like in a Sabbath school setting, you could actually set your Sabbath school offerings aside and donate to the evening schools. So it's kind of like what we've done with the adoptive school program.
Right.
And all that means is that if you choose to sponsor a child or a school, if you have a group like a book club or a Bible study group or anything like that, and you want to help out, you can let us know. I can get you some materials to help. There's a poster and some other pictures and things like that, just to kind of help with the fundraising idea. And you can just send in quarterly or monthly or however you'd like to funds to help support the schools.
So that's great. So there are many ways that you can get involved in supporting the evening schools, and we'd love to have you as a partner with that. So please do contact us, and Veronica will get back in touch with you. And if you're interested in learning anything more about Jesus for Asia and the other projects that we have, I invite you to go to our website at jesusforasia.org and check out all of the projects there. We ask for your prayers for these projects, as well as for the evening schools and this program about the evening schools. Because we know that prayer works, and so we would love to have you partner with us in prayer. If you're watching this on YouTube, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching this on Facebook, we invite you to like our page. That way you'll get notifications of when we go live. And we'd love to have you come back often as we bring you stories from the mission fields. Again, we thank you for joining us. This has been your Mission Snapshot.